Hey everybody, it's me, Noel. Thanks so much for joining me here today. I am with my co-contestants from Wheel of Fortune, Edwin and Shawn. How are you guys?
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, hey, hey.
So I can't believe that it's been 3 months since we filmed, and this is really the first time that the three of us are back together again.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. Good. First time, hopefully. Yes. First time, not the last. Absolutely. Yes. This
that's
is
exactly right.
so much fun being together again. This is great.
It was so great, and I feel like I don't know if you all are getting the same type of questions that I'm getting, but people are like, "How did you get on the show? What was it like?" So, who wants to go first? What made you apply, and how did you get on?
You want to go first, Shawn? I can go first. I'll go
You can
first.
go first. Yeah, you can go first.
So about I'm gonna say a good 14, 13, 14 years ago, I applied on a whim.
Oh,
I was solving, I was watching the show as I was normally doing, and I just said, let me apply. Never got a response back for nothing. So then I let it, I let it slide. I said, it's not for me. Maybe I'll never be on the show. So then November, I think it was November of 2023. I was literally in bed with my wife. We were just watching the show, and I said I was solving puzzles, and I said, "Let me try applying again." This time it was the first time I did it. I was on the computer. I put a whole thesis on there about why I wanted to be on the show. This time I just did everything on my phone, put a
oh,
picture and all of that. Why I wanted to be on the show. Why I applied before and all of that, and I forgot about it. Kept watching the show. Then in around March, I got an email. At first I thought it was spam. I almost threw it in the trash, but then I said, you know what? Let me reply, and it was actually for an audition. So I got the first audition. As you guys know, the audition they do, I think, is as a two-parter. It was, at least it was for me. So it was a
okay,
two-parter. The first part is it was a group of four. So they want to see enthusiasm. They want to see character. They want to see you come out on
right,
camera. They want to see who you are at home. They don't want to see a different person. They want to see Edwin, however you are at home, however you are in real life with your friends. Just show that. Always smiling, always having a good time. And so the way they did it was they would let people know that they're what is it that they wanted to be on it as far as themes. So then you tell
right.
them the themes, and then after that they tell you, okay, you can go. Then
So, did you
there's
tell them
people.
Disney? Did you
Yes, I
say
told
like
them. I said Disney, baseball, travel, and food, and I think I said food twice. We'll get to that in a moment. So then yeah, after the first interview, they told me, can you come back on for a second interview tomorrow? And I said,
Oh,
absolutely. Same time tomorrow, the next day. And the next day I met Aaron, and
yeah.
we were doing just repeating going through the motions, and we were actually solving puzzles. And each time I solved three out of the four in all instances. There were a few tough ones where they gave you like two or three letters, but yeah. And then they told me that they put me on the queue, and the rest is history.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. And I loved your story. You had said on the show for anybody who hasn't yet watched the episode, you said you grew up watching Wheel of Fortune because it was helping you with your English, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I was a toddler when I came, and my
Wow.
mom to this day she doesn't speak a lick of English, barely gets by. So that's all I had. English, I'm
Oh,
sorry, Spanish at home. I was in ESL for all through grade school, all the way through to fifth grade. At fifth grade is when I finally got four. I'm sorry, fourth grade was when I finally got good enough to be in all English. And yeah, and Wheel of Fortune. After that, I was just solving puzzles, and it was just the time of my
wow.
life.
Wow. And
Yeah,
it's amazing, like, for people to hear that you actually applied like over a decade ago, but you didn't give up. You applied again and you got on.
without even trying.
Oh, wow, that's awesome, that's awesome. And Shawn, what about you? What was your experience with applying and getting on the show?
Well, I watched Will all my life. It was something that my parents, we had one TV and like a small home where we washed dishes after supper and we got ready for Will and everyone watched. It was a routine. It's fond memory with my parents that I have growing up. So I've been working on my master's and in education, and I kind of come home from my school day, get started on my school day, like work for my schooling, and then a lot of times I will my light went out. Okay, there it is. All right. And then I last year I
Mhm.
was gonna apply and I did like Edwin, almost like wrote all the things, tried to,
Right.
just like these little paragraphs,
Wrap it
and
up.
it didn't go through. And it didn't go through.
Oh,
So I was like, you know what? I don't have time for that. Because my break time is usually I 6:45. It comes on at 7 here. And so I usually get my dinner, watch Will, and then I'll work till like 9 o'clock.
yeah.
And so that's kind of my little routine. So this summer, July, I just normally take my break. I'm tired of looking at the computer. It was getting close to exams for my summer
Mm,
class.
mhm.
And I was watching, I looked at a picture of my parents because they're both deceased now. And I said, I'm going to apply. And I was like, I should really try to apply. And
Yeah.
literally, as soon as I said that, they said, want to be a contestant? Here's the QR code.
Oh,
Like, and
wow.
I literally picked up the phone, did the QR code, and literally, I love the NFL. I love Dallas Cowboys. I love Disney. I love the holidays. I am a teacher. I teach second
Wow.
grade. No video, and my picture was sideways, and I couldn't figure out how to make it go straight. And didn't even, I was like, you know what? I got to get back to work. I don't have time. And click the button.
See that? Wow.
Literally. And it was just like, and I heard some people had applied like 13, 14 times.
Yeah.
That was literally my first time applying. And so the next day, no, not the next day. Yes, it was the next day. Got on the computer, normal routine, checking emails, thought
Yep.
it was spam. And then
Wow.
I was like, oh my goodness, it was like, can you solve these three puzzles or something? And I solved the three puzzles and clicked it off and still really didn't even think like, oh, that's just they got it, you know,
Yeah.
not
Wow.
even thinking. And then I didn't think about it anymore.
Yeah.
Exams came, school started back because my school starts at the 1st of August.
Mhm.
So I had my exams and I was stressed about a grade and did a professional development. I usually talk all the time. And we had a new teacher, kindergarten. So I was like, I'm going to let her talk. So I said, I'm going to be Vanna. I'm going to be your Vanna.
Oh, wow.
Literally. And I'm at the thing, and everyone is cracking up because usually I'm like, I'm not talking, I'm Vanna. And I was like presenting the PowerPoint and doing all the things, and everyone's cracking up. And
Wow.
so get back to the room. My instructional assistant says, did you get your grade? I said, oh, let me check the computer. So I have told no one.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, and she said, how did you do? How did you do? And I was like, uh-uh. And she's like,
No.
and I was like, come here, come here. So it's like, the audition thing. So she
Yeah.
said, no, really? The Wheel of Fortune? I said, girl, I ain't told nobody. Don't say nothing.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, I was like, what I gotta do? Read it? I can't read it. I
That's
can't read it. So
amazing.
I'm just crazy. And so she's like, you got to
You're
apply.
like,
And it
who
was a
cares about the grade?
yeah. So it was like Friday, and then I got an A on that. But
Nice.
it wasn't even important at that
Yeah.
point. And so it was a Friday, and it was like a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. You could do the virtual audition. And I
Yeah.
said, there's no way I can wait till Wednesday. So we got to put Monday.
Right.
And so then someone else walked in. They were like, what are you guys up to? Y'all are up to something, your faces. So
Yeah.
we told her. And I was like, I gotta pray. And she's like, have you told your husband? I was like, no, I gotta tell him. And she was like, you gotta tell him because he's gonna be praying. So I was like, okay. So I said, I'm gonna wait till I go home. So we're just, getting our classroom set up. So
Yeah.
on the way home, I called him. I was in traffic and I was like, I did something. He's like, oh Lord, what did you do?
Oh,
Like,
he
cause
didn't
I
even
can
know
do,
you applied. You just like didn't
yeah,
tell anybody you did it, and
yeah.
that was
Yeah. And he was like, I said, I did something. He's like, oh Lord, what did you do? And I was like, I applied for Wheel of Fortune. He's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And I was like, no, not
it.
Family Feud. Because we
Oh,
went on a
he's like,
cruise and Yeah,
Ah,
we went on a cruise in April, and I was like the whole time, "Oh my God, we should do Family Feud." He's like, "We don't have family, but this, you know." So it was crazy, but he just and I had been talking about Family Feud, Family Feud.
oh, he thought
So
he was
when
gonna
and then
have
I
to go
said
on.
no, I said no,
That's
Will
great.
and when he said, "Oh, you can do that," and that was the
Oh,
end of that. So I went home. I looked up this girl, and I still can't find the video, but it was this girl who had went on and she told all the things about audition and literally
oh,
it walked me through. She
wow,
said just keep watching, and so then I started recording all the episodes. I started doing
interesting.
all the things, and
Yeah.
then I told one of my children and my
Mhm.
sister, and then when I told them, I said, "We gotta be bubbly. We gotta." They were like, "Oh my God, you're like that all the time, so you'll have no problems."
Oh,
And
wow.
so
Story
but
though.
that's
That's a
pretty
good
much
story.
and then the process, with the auditions,
Right,
and
the audition.
then
Yeah,
and then
I
she
didn't even
and
think about, like, looking up, like, a video of somebody talking about, like, the full process, like, we're talking about it in, like, bits and pieces here and what happens, like, in our, our personal story, but yeah, I mean, it
and
sounds like
she literally and now I can't find the video.
oh,
I
that's
can't
funny,
even find
funny.
it. It was and so I
Oh,
said it was truly meant to be
yeah,
because
it was
she
meant to
literally told me everything. She was like, "They're not
wow.
gonna pay for your flights. They're,
Right,
just things like
right,
that." And she said,
right.
there'll be a second audition. Then she said, "You're going to get a list with all these dates."
Yes, yeah,
And she literally told me every single step. And I would remember, I said, "Okay, next is," and
yeah, yeah.
literally that's
Oh,
what
wow, that's so
happened.
interesting. I feel like my experience was just, like, slightly different, like, it sounds like all of our experiences were a little bit different with the application process. I only applied for the Disney week because I was just like, I love Disney, so, that's what I want, and I saw an advertisement for it, and I applied, and, it took a couple of maybe, like, a week or 2 to hear back just to get that initial interview. I had my first interview with Brandon, and then I think the second one was with Aaron with a couple of other people that I winded up. I don't think I ever like saw again. I don't know like how they made it or anything like that. And then I think there was yeah, I think like the third one was practice puzzles, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
So
it was my second. I only had
okay.
two.
I only had
Mhm.
two.
I
Yeah.
had the first one with
Oh, I had three. I had three.
with with Richard. I had
Oh,
a first one with Richard, and
no.
then my second one was with it was a girl, Alex.
Oh yeah, Alex. I did one with Alex too. Yeah.
Alex, because I thought it was a guy, and she came on and we did the
Mhm.
puzzles, and it was other teachers. So I was sure I was going to do Teachers Week, and then
Teacher.
Teachers Week played, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not doing
Oh,
Teachers
not
Week."
teachers. Oh, that's so funny.
And I don't know how I missed Holiday Disney. It's like I'm sure they're going to send me something with what my show. And then I went back and looked. I said, "Oh,
It
Disney."
was
I was just
holiday season.
like, "Yeah, it was crazy."
Yeah, I know, so great. And how crazy was it getting there at what, 6:45 in the morning,
Oh
right?
my God.
Yeah.
I had like I was there on like 3 hours of sleep. I couldn't
I
sleep.
know,
I
I
was
know.
so
I
like
finally
nervous,
just
excited.
came.
Yeah.
I finally was just like, I can't take it anymore. My husband was asleep,
Yeah,
and I was just like, I can't do it. I'm going.
same,
I'm
same. I
leaving.
don't think
I'm just
anybody
gonna.
slept that night, right? I know, that was crazy. And then we're in, like, this, um, parking lot place until they finally move us into I don't what's the proper term for where we were, the concrete,
It's
factory
like a studio thing.
studio
Yeah,
thing.
that's I found out that they actually film they put up like these huge green screens and they film like I think some of the Marvel movies
In
actually
there.
they do yeah
Yeah.
they film there, so it was pretty cool. I mean, it's a huge space.
Do you
Yeah.
remember in the I think it was like we were probably there for about an hour and a half or two, like first thing in the morning, and we're like sitting
Hmm.
there getting ready to sign all of our papers. And do you remember when Vanna walked in?
Oh
Yeah, because
my
I
God.
started crying.
You started to cry. I remember that. My eyes got watery. You were
It
crying.
I froze in
was
place.
purposely. I get so distracted with watching people that I always position myself in the front.
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
matter what it is.
Yeah.
So that's why, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I was trying to hold it together, but it was just not working.
And she hugged
Because
you.
I
Didn't
was
she
like,
come over and hug you?
yeah, she came
Yeah.
over and hugged me. But I
Yep.
was sitting there like, oh my God, that is
I
Vanna
know.
White.
No,
Like,
it's amazing
how
when she
crazy.
walked
And
in.
she got there really early too. I've been
Really
telling
early.
everyone how impressed I was that she was there that early.
Yeah. No
That was
makeup,
impressive.
regular clothes. You wouldn't even like recognize her on the street, right?
It's
Mm.
crazy.
Yeah. Was there anything else that you think that was like very unique or really memorable about that day? I mean, aside from the whole thing, but like any one thing that like sticks out where you're like, I'll never forget this or
I mean, I just I went back and even told my wife about this. There's no whatever they pay those producers, it's not enough.
Right.
It's incredible what they do, and they
Yeah.
do it with a smile on their face. It's just
yeah,
out of this world. I mean, to do that day in and day out from that time, they probably don't get home till like probably 7 o'clock at night, exhausted probably, and they go
yeah,
in the next day and just do the whole thing all over again for brand
yeah,
new people, strangers, people they'll probably never ever see again.
Right.
That's
yeah,
my takeaway from that. Aside from the obvious, spinning the wheel and all of that,
right.
that boring stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
but but yeah, no, I think that one of my big takeaways was that just I was just in awe by their experience and professionalism. They're amazing people. I hope I get the chance to meet them again at some point. But
I
yeah,
know.
that was my takeaway.
You know what?
Yeah.
That's a good one, Edwin. I agree because I felt like they could not have been any nicer. They were the nicest group
I
of people.
agree.
Everybody on the set. Shout out to the whole Wheel of Fortune crews. It's everybody on set. They were amazing.
I even got
Yeah.
makeup. I got they got rid of the
Yeah.
bags under my eyes. They put some weird stuff on my
Yeah. They
head to
always
make it not
love.
shine on camera.
Oh, they were the nicest people. They were so
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, that was my one takeaway. I think right before we went on, I talked to them about the integrity of the show and how they have just I felt welcomed from the time I walked in till I arrived on the parking lot. And
Yeah.
that was really important, I think, to bring back home to viewers is that is it was a it's a top-notch production.
Yeah.
I just, that's the only way I can see it. The night before I flew out, I had talked to my sister's pastor and she prayed with me and we talked about that. Whether you're 8 or 80, you can watch Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
You don't have to cover your kids' eyes.
Right.
There's not going to be something negative on the puzzle
Right.
that would be offensive. It's just that show that my grandkids can be running around and I don't have to turn the TV to watch Will. We can all watch together no matter what age. And
Right.
just as people learned that I was going on the show, that was the one thing they were like, oh my gosh, I've watched, and they'll start sharing their memory. And again, the integrity, it has not changed. And it really is America's game.
Yeah. Yeah. And we
Absolutely.
came off of America's Game all winners. So congratulations to all three of us.
That
I
was
really, I really wanted the $1 million though. I
Yeah,
did.
I know you did. I know
I'm
you
not
did.
even, I actually had to write. My students are doing narrative writing, and I wrote about my trip to Wheel of Fortune. And I said, I am sad because I didn't win the $1 million. But my kids did not get to, none of the parents allowed them to watch. They didn't know.
Oh,
They started watching, and then the next day we had a wheel watch party with my students.
oh,
And
nice.
so they thought we were just watching the game, and they looked like, wait. And then they still didn't recognize me.
Oh,
And
that's
then when the toss up picture came up,
yeah.
that's when they were like, they kept looking at me, and then they look at the screen, look at me,
Oh,
and
that's
all the parents were like, it was so funny. And then they were like, is that her? Is
oh
Smelly, that lady
wow.
looks like you. And
Oh wow.
until he said, Shawn Miller from Wallace, North Carolina, they just cheered and cheered and cheered.
Oh.
But
And Sean
they did not,
has second graders, right? So how cute that must
yes,
have been. Yeah.
but they did not like Edwin.
Oh no.
They would say it was so hilarious. They would say, bankrupt, bankrupt,
Oh
bankrupt.
my
Every time he
God.
would get the wheel, they were like, bankrupt, Edwin, because we want Miss Miller to spin. It was so, and they were so mad at you. And then you didn't even win. And then we took a break and then we watched the rest. But they were so mad at you because they would want me to spin. So it was hilarious. And I
Oh,
said, you
that's
guys, he's
great.
the nicest guy. I had to show him the picture that we took the next day at the hotel
Oh,
to let him know you
Oh,
were a really nice guy. But they were like,
too
oh,
kind,
they
too
were
kind.
out for you.
oh,
They must
that's
have really cheered when I picked up that bankrupt from the $10,000 wedge.
Yeah, but I didn't even realize how much I had when I went bankrupt. And oh my gosh, some of them were about to cry. And I said, you
oh,
guys, it's okay. It really is.
yeah.
It's okay. But they were not having that at all. But it
Oh,
was
that's so
hilarious how every time it was your turn, they were like, bankrupt, bankrupt.
funny.
But it was hilarious. But a lot of them asked, how am I there and here? And I said,
Yeah,
it was
curious, right?
recorded. And then I talked about the 3 days that I was out, and then they remembered the substitute because they rarely have a substitute with
Oh,
me.
okay.
So
Yeah.
then they said, oh, so
That's why you
it was,
weren't there. Yeah.
yeah, but it was hilarious.
So, Edwin, what did your family say when the show was over and they knew obviously you won the vacation to Olani?
They all I got was text. Hawaii, Hawaii,
Yeah.
Hawaii. I even got a text from my our realtor. So we moved to Long Island. It was in 2018. And it's one of those things where we constant communication with the realtors, and for months. Then we just stop. Obviously you get the house, and then you
Mhm.
really you go about our separate ways. You pretty much forget about each other. I get the randomest text. I pretty much post it on Facebook, Instagram. I tell everybody and their mother, except they're one of the very few people that didn't know.
Uh,
So I'm sitting watching the show. It's a mini watch party with two of our closest friends here at my house, and I get a text from my realtor. She says, "Edwin, oh my God, Edwin, how are you doing? Can I ask you a question? Are you on Wheel of Fortune?" And I said, "Yes." And she's like, "Oh my God!" And I
oh,
get pretty much the same reaction from people who knew that, like some people even saw my message on Facebook, didn't believe it until they saw me on TV. So it's
wow.
one, and let me say, I don't know if you guys agree. Seeing yourself on TV is the wildest thing you'll ever see. I mean, it's crazy, right?
Yes.
So
Right.
especially the first time. But yeah, no, my family, they're just so elated, so happy for me. Everyone, my friends, my mom, she's actually in the Dominican Republic now. She didn't get to see, but as soon as she gets back, I'll share the recording with her. We'll watch it together and all of that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
everybody was
great.
excited for me,
Oh,
and I couldn't be happier. Yeah.
yeah. No, it was just an amazing experience. I wish we could all go back, right? I mean, let's do it again. Can
Oh
I have
man,
the three of us on again?
That would be great.
that'll be
That would
amazing.
be great. But everyone was talking about the liver pudding thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That was
And actually, I went Christmas Eve and it was sold out. The
because
store that
Ryan
we
bought it
get it
all.
from, but they went back when they found out who I was. They went back and packaged some up for me. It was crazy.
Oh, wow.
But literally, people were like, "What?" And I was like, "I don't know why I said that." But when Edwin's wife the next day, she said, "I looked up liver pudding." Then we got in the Uber and we looked it up, and I was like, "It doesn't look like that." The picture
Oh,
that you Googled.
No, we didn't.
and
So it was
really,
hilarious. So I
you
said, when
and
they come to
Ryan,
North
like, oh
Carolina,
my God, Ryan was,
yeah, and even when I watched the last two shows, I went in the audience for the last two shows,
Mhm.
and him and Vanna, and every time he would come over and he said, "That's," and I said, "Vanna, you never heard of liver pudding?" She's like, "No,"
oh,
because
that's so
she's from South Carolina, but she's like, "No,"
great.
and I've done research. It's a regional thing, really,
Interesting.
literally to Eastern North Carolina.
And isn't Ryan from
It's like
Georgia?
it's called
Oh, yeah.
Scrapple. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
from
Oh,
Georgia. He had never
oh,
heard of it.
yeah.
And it's kind of like pate. And I think Jim came out of the booth when I
Oh,
was in the audience and he was talking about it too. He says, and I said, yeah, but it's grits and you mix it. It's, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It was
So,
hilarious.
what's next for us? I keep asking, I when I met with Phil and I met with Desiree, it's like, what's next? Are you guys going to try to go on when we can? Because we can't yet. Are you going to try to go on another game show? What do you think? Is it
I
an
would
addiction?
love to. I would love to do Family Feud, but my wife shot that down.
Well, my family, they're down for it now. That they see that it could actually happen.
Yeah,
Hmm.
But
yeah,
I was gonna just settle for a cruise family feud. I was jazzed out about that. But yeah, I'm ready. I could do it.
yeah.
But I love. I think it's a new one like The Floor. Have you seen that one
Oh, that is
with
so
Is it
fun.
Rob Lowe? I don't
Yeah,
know.
Rob Lowe. Rob
Yeah,
Lowe.
yeah, yeah. I like that one.
That's a
Okay.
real
And
good
I've
one.
always liked Press Your Luck
Yeah. Oh, I
with the
like Pressure
Mm.
Luck
whammy.
too. That, yeah, I like that.
I love Price is Right, but I don't think I want to go on that because your
I see.
chances
I
are
would love
just
to do that. That's the problem. Like, are they going to call you? You know, out of the
right.
on the audience? Yeah, I feel like.
I would be so sad.
Yeah, but I would love to go see that.
Yeah. So
Someone,
that's
How about
another
you,
one.
Edwin? What do you think?
someone told me I should go on Survivor, and I said I wouldn't last a week.
No.
No way.
Yeah,
I would
no,
not last. I'll be
no
the first
surrender.
one eliminated.
Yep. I would definitely be that.
Oh,
Well,
I always talk about, and I may talk it into existence. I always talk about being like an extra in one of my favorite TV shows or something. Maybe a corpse on Law and Order, or or someone eating at a restaurant at a coffee shop.
listen,
Uh,
the
yeah, yeah,
possibilities are endless, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, though. You know, go on one of your
Yeah.
favorite shows.
Well,
Be an
so are any of you guys local legends? Do you get recognized in the street? I haven't gotten recognized in the street.
I
You do?
have because I'm from a small town.
You're
Oh,
from a
okay,
small
okay, okay.
town.
I'm
Yeah.
from, yeah. So the next day we went to the auto parts store and the girl was like, "Oh my gosh, it was you."
Oh,
That kind of thing. And then we did a Christmas shopping thing for different kids at my school. And these guys have been with me. We shopped. It's the best thing ever. They get like each kid gets like $225 in Target.
oh wow.
What? They had the best time and we shopped. We had Starbucks and all the things. And my school social worker, she says, well, and she was, because I bought all my kids pajamas for Christmas. So the last day we all dressed in pajamas, took pictures and all the things. So
Oh.
she was showing them the pictures of us, and then we had a cake that said my teacher was on Wheel of Fortune.
Oh,
So
that's great.
he saw the cake and he says, I know you. We just because he had just watched like 3 days, like from
Oh,
Wednesday to Saturday, and he said, "Liver pudding lady, you're the man. You should have spent." He was giving me all these things, and I was like, "It's too late. I've already gone. I wish I
oh.
could go back." Because he was like, "You didn't spin it hard enough." I said, "It was heavy." So that was like the funniest. And then he had to take a picture because he says, "My wife is not gonna believe this.
Oh,
That I actually had spent the whole day with you and didn't recognize." Because he kept looking at me and he was like, "Your voice." I kept thinking, where do I know her from? But he had just watched me like Wednesday.
that's
And
great.
so that was like the biggest person. And
Oh,
oh, the instructional assistant next to me didn't know I was going on. And her son says, "It's a girl from Wallace, North Carolina." And then, yeah, and then she put in like a group chat at work, but I thought they all knew, but she didn't know. So the next day she was like, "How did you?" I was like, "I thought you knew."
yeah. I mean,
Mm.
I feel like I got more. Not that I've been noticed on the street or anything, but just a lot of texts from people who watched it and a lot of calls, things like that. Yeah.
What was your kids' reaction?
Oh my God. They just couldn't believe that I said their names on TV. They were like mostly excited about that.
Did you keep it? Did you manage to keep it a secret from your kids about what happened on the day
I
of?
did. Yeah.
Oh, it was
It was hard,
so
but
hard.
you know, being
It's
my
so
husband
hard.
was there with me, he was the only one that knew anything. I didn't tell my kids because I was
Same.
afraid they were gonna slip, and I knew that if I got back to my mother, that the entire neighborhood would find out. So
Did you have a big watch party,
I did,
Noel?
I did. I rented out. It wasn't that expensive. I rented out the local movie theater.
Okay,
Oh, nice, nice,
that's nice.
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we had
I didn't
about
want to. I was worried. I was like, if I rent out the movie theater, they're gonna think it was really expensive, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, she must have won like a lot of money." But really, it was only like $400 or something like that, and they included all the
oh, that's
drinks
not
and
bad.
popcorn, and we had like probably 40 people.
Yeah, we had about 40 at the house.
Oh my
40
god!
seats. And then the local newspaper, she came. So
Oh,
she hung,
that's
and but my
so
husband had went to high school with her, and or all his life he had knew. She lived right down the road. We didn't even know, but she
oh,
came, and
nice.
she got up with the wheel, and I think they sent her some different pictures, but I still haven't seen them.
Oh,
But
okay.
she used the picture from the house when,
Oh,
from the
nice.
party. But we had a good time. My one of my daughters, she was really upset because she wanted me to win a lot of money so she could get a new car.
Oh.
So she was really sad. She was about the only person that was
Oh,
devastated.
tell her now she's gotta, come on Family Feud with you so she could get her own
Yeah.
car.
But she was hilarious. She was just like, Mom. But me, like I said, me and my husband knew, but I literally, you guys, I didn't remember a lot. It
I
came
know,
back to me
I know.
after a while. It
Yeah,
was like my husband would say something. He said, "You said," and I said,
yeah.
and
I know
that kind of thing. So
people
I was glad that he went with me. So that's the
yeah,
one advice I would give someone.
that's
It
good.
goes so fast
So
that
fast.
you literally, it's a blur. And
I know.
so him being able to kind of recap like
Yes,
what happened for
yes.
me, it helped my anxiety because
Well, it
I
was
didn't
so bad that we
remember.
couldn't have our phones with us. Like, I hated not being able to just even take pictures of the stage, the set, just so, like, I could remember always what it looked like. It was so hard not to have your phone.
Yeah. So that's one thing I would tell if someone's thinking about going on the show,
Yeah,
at least have one person there to kind of, because I literally, and then days later I would go, "Oh yeah, that
yeah,
happened. Oh yeah." And then,
yeah.
but that was the one thing I was so grateful that he was able to go with me because it helped me to kind of get through what I said. What did
It's
Well,
it's it's a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Adam, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna back up what Shawn was saying. It's so funny. I thought I was the only one. I feel like I blacked out the entire show. I didn't remember. Like it's one of those things where in the beginning I was sweating profusely. Number one in the beginning. And once you solve, I don't know if you guys felt the same way. Once you solve that first puzzle, you sort of kind of lock in, and you
Yeah,
just
yes,
put all your faith on the wheel. And that's another thing to talk about here. Noel, I think that's the worst wheel luck I have ever seen on any Wheel of Fortune
yes.
show
yeah,
ever. And to
yeah,
end the way that it did was just pure joy. I
Yeah,
mean, it was
that's what my husband was saying. He was like, "I don't see." He's like, "I'm
it
telling
was
you, she had the worst."
unreal.
And he
the
started
worst.
telling me like different things, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that it did happen that way." And
Yeah,
then I think when they did the little statistics and stuff, and I think somebody did the little thing. I
yes,
watched that, and I
yes,
was like, "Yeah, she really had." And even my niece, my oldest niece, she was here, and she said, "Oh my God, she had the worst." And to come back like that, that was like classic.
Amazing,
Yeah, it really
amazing.
was. It
I'm
was
voting that for
amazing.
show of the week.
my
Yes.
It
God,
was something to behold. Yeah,
yeah,
once
Yeah, it
once those lights come on, your nerves,
oh my,
you just forget who you are. All you're
yeah,
looking at is the board and the wheel.
yes, yes,
takes. There are no retakes. And
no,
that's the other thing. It just happens. And it's like literally that is what happened. And that was to me, I think it was really that was just
yeah,
something key that if you could have someone to be there with you
yeah, to help
to
you remember.
Absolutely.
tell you what, because that night we went to we were trying to find somewhere. I wanted to take my husband. He had never been to California, so I
Oh,
wanted to take him like the Roscoe Chicken and Waffles, but then it got dark and he was like and the lady at the hotel was like, I don't
okay.
know about y'all going here. So she was like, a restaurant, and Lydia just happened to be walking by, and she was like, "We're going to BJ's."
Oh my God. Were you guys all at the same hotel?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Where did you all
Yeah.
stay?
Well, we didn't know. We didn't know until I saw them the next day, but I saw Lydia that night. So
Oh,
we all went to dinner that night with her family. And it was so like fun because we talked about, our shows and then what we did. And then I didn't know because I remember when I got on the thing, I was trying to wave at my husband and he wasn't waving at me. And then they were her husband and my husband were like, they told us not to wave
not
at you
to wait.
guys and not to, and I was like, and me and Lydia was like,
That is so funny.
yeah,
Well,
their experience and our experience. And my husband, and I think he had talked to everybody. So it was
oh,
funny how he knew everybody's, family.
that's
So
great.
it was really cool.
Yeah. It was so great. Any other final thoughts, Edwin? Any
No, just again, it was an experience like no other. The
yeah.
dream come true. And just for any viewer out there, any aspiring potential game show contestant, just do
Yeah.
it. Go for it. You
Yeah.
never know.
You
And,
never know.
when it comes to just showing your true self, and making sure that that you're never leaving anything to chance, never leaving anything behind. Just leave it all out there. That's what I did,
Yeah.
Yep.
and that's what we all did. And look what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, I'm going to make sure that in the comments below, I put a link to our amazing episode so people can rewatch or watch for the first time. And this was so much fun. It was really so great to talk to you guys and see your faces and just relive it again, right? We got to do like an
Yeah.
anniversary meeting every year.
Yes.
Disney meetup.
I'm thinking I want to come to New York. Because
Come
I've
on.
been watching you and your network and your prom and all that. That looks like so much fun, Noel.
Oh,
Yes,
thank you.
I
Thank you. Yeah, well,
absolutely
I don't
agree.
think Edwin and I are probably like I think we said maybe like 2 hours away from each other or something. So we're not that
Yeah,
far.
I'm in Lindenhurst, so I'm about an hour removed from the city, which would be you're in upstate New York.
I'm in Westchester, but I'm on the border of like New Rochelle and the Bronx.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I
So,
can be in the Bronx in like 5 minutes, give or take, so pretty close.
oh, okay. So about an hour and 15 minutes from me. Oh, okay. That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. So Shawn, you could come meet us.
Yes. I'm going to do the prom dress thing. I
Amazing.
want to do all that.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Absolutely.
That would be
I
amazing.
looked at that. I said, I'm going to see what I can do to make that happen. But again, I turned 55 in September, and even prior to, I just
Oh, I think we lost Shawn.
Yeah, she'll
I'm going to
probably come
do
back.
just
Oh,
simple
there it is. There it is.
restaurants, just anything. And so for me to get that opportunity to go on national TV and do the whole thing, it was just it just helped me propel like what else do I want to do? Just
Yeah.
even outside. So I just would tell people, look, do it.
Yeah. Yes, agreed. Do it. Just do it, right? All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me here tonight. Thanks for everybody who's watching. Go watch that episode if you haven't seen it. And have a good night.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
We'll talk soon.
Yes, absolutely.